What the hell is this? A bunch of haters trying to defame my late great hero, Mr. Michael Jackson, or a bunch of creators came together just trying to prove how innocent Michael Jackson was this entire time? Let's find out. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. All right, now guys, we have Michael Jackson, The Verdict, which just premiered on Netflix on June 3rd for your streaming pleasures at home on your couch. It is coming in at 2 hours and 36 minutes or 3 episodes and is rated TVMA and is being described as crime documentary. Now, this is being directed by Mr. Nick Green. This is not what the gentleman looks like. There's no picture of him. But if we scroll down and look at his filmography, at other things he directed, he has 33 credits: Terror X, Secrets Declassified, Con Moon, Zuckerberg, just a ton of TV series and or documentaries. I have not seen any of these, but if you have seen his past work and are a fan of this gentleman, Mr. Nick Green, please let me know down in that good old comment section below. Now, when it comes to my expectations for this Michael Jackson, The Verdict documentary on Netflix, as soon as I saw the trailer like a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh, I am watching this up, down, left, right, in and out. Now, there are some other creators online that were instantly just pissed off and upset that this was coming out. Like, oh my gosh, they're trying to defame Michael Jackson. They're still trying to throw him under the bus. This man is dead. Let him rest in peace. Stop trying to make him look like the devil. Y'all are just trying to capitalize because the Michael biopic is in theaters right now, doing a great job, yada, yada, yada. I did not necessarily see it like that. Yes, it's blatantly obvious that when the Michael movie went into production, there was probably groups of people, Netflix or whoever, just said, hey, let's try to capitalize on this. While the movie comes out, let's have a documentary that comes out as well, talking about all these allegations. And it was a big deal because the movie that's in theaters right now did not address these sexual allegations, but this documentary is. However, when I did see the trailer, I was excited. And it looked like a pretty balanced trailer for me. It looked like it was trying to save the day, wave the white flag, like, hey, y'all remember all those rumors years ago from Michael Jackson that said all these bad, horrible things? It's not true, and we have the proof. That is the tone that I got from the trailer and got me excited to not only watch the documentary, but cover it as well. So is that true or not? We're going to talk about it. But before I get into all the nitty gritty, before I talk about all my likes and dislikes, let me tell you exactly, if it wasn't obvious already, what this documentary is all about. Key players from inside the courtroom recount the trial of Michael Jackson, examining his complex legacy. Now, overall, guys, I will admit I won't bury the lead. I am not the biggest fan of this documentary. It just didn't sit well with me. It made me a bit uncomfortable and actually left a lot of questions unanswered. Now, again, I will say that I am biased. I will admit that. And you're probably saying to yourself, Brandon, you're just saying that because you're a fan of Michael Jackson and you want him to be innocent. Okay, I will admit that. That is 100% true. But going back to the documentary, it just did not sit well with me. I did say that this is coming in at 2 hours and 36 minutes, but it's spread across 3 different episodes. Each episode ranges anywhere from 45 minutes to 55 minutes. I thought the first episode was the absolute worst, and that is just because of the editing, and it did leave me confused. Now, early on in episode 1 of this documentary, it led you to believe that this is covering the cases, one of the two, from the 2005 criminal trial, People versus Michael Jackson, which was launched or started off from the documentary that came out in 2003 called Living with Michael Jackson. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know this existed until I was watching this documentary on Netflix. I don't like the man Bashir, who took advantage of Michael Jackson. This was a British television documentary. You can watch it if you want to, but the main person behind it was journalist Martin Bashir. And in my opinion, he is a classified a-hole. But as the documentary was progressing on, I wasn't sure if this was covering more of the 2005 trial or the 1993-1994 trial. It ended up being both, and that made it much clearer in episodes 2 and 3. But during episode 1, I was just a bit confused and could have just been much smoother or polished for an audience member. Now, if this documentary wanted to be fair right down the middle, with even depiction on both sides, on the prosecution side and the defense, that would be one thing, and I would be much more accepting. But I don't feel like that was the case. I feel like this entire documentary, especially episode 1, was just to slander and defame Michael Jackson. And with him being dead for all this time since 2009, I'm just like, okay, let this man rest in peace, especially if you're not going to provide any new information that hasn't been brought out to the public. Now, it probably has been, and I just didn't cover it. During 1993 and 94, I was 9 or 10 years old and wasn't paying attention to anything like this except for the headlines, but not all the details. But also in 2005, I did hear about this trial, but I didn't pay attention to it much at that time either, other than when the verdict did come out, claiming that Michael Jackson was innocent for all 10 counts of sexual abuse, conspiracy, and or child molestation. Again, but if you're going to make the documentary, just stick with the facts. Don't be biased. And this documentary wasn't doing that. Now, of course, the documentary does have real interviews from people on both sides of the aisle that felt Michael was either guilty or not guilty. But it also does have real footage from decades, years ago, from the court proceedings, and just various found footage from people that were in Michael Jackson's life at that time. Just take that information and tell the story. Don't try to paint Michael Jackson or Neverland Ranch in some type of sinister way. And that's what this documentary did a ton of times with their made up B-roll footage. Everyone has seen what Neverland Ranch looks like from the media over the years. It's a beautiful, bright place. It looks like a carnival. It looks like a circus. It looks like a theme park. It looks like a zoo. It looks like a place that any child will want to go and have fun for a whole entire day, even the adults, but they didn't present it in that way. They came up with some fake AI CG generated depiction of Neverland Ranch at night, like it's the Halloween and Satan is out on the streets to play and capture victims. It was all dark and gloomy and sinister and scary, like this was a Freddy Krueger movie with the horrible, daunting music in the back. It was ridiculous. I've never seen a Neverland Ranch depicted like this. I mean, everything was at night. They had lights on in the house shining through the windows. They was making it seem like a giant torture chamber mansion. And I just didn't appreciate that at all. That's not how Michael wanted to present Neverland Ranch to the world. So I don't know why this documentary chose to do that as well. I mean, you're clearly being biased and trying to make this man look bad. And that was one of the first things that put a bad taste in my mouth about this whole production. Now, on a lighter side, I did find some of it hilarious, how they tried to label some of the people throughout the documentary that they were trying to interview. It goes from investigative journalist, attorney, lawyer, reporter, family friend, just the various number of titles that was attached to certain people. One of them I found hilarious where it says former Jackson family friend by the name of Stacey Brown. And this is the way he was talking in the documentary about the Jackson and the whole Jackson family. You can tell that he really wasn't a friend of the family anymore. I don't know if that was his choice, theirs, or it was some type of mutual decision. But it was just funny to me how they made it clear that this is not a family friend of the Michael Jackson family or the estate. This is a former family friend. Also, even if that's the case, I don't even know why you will want to participate in this production in the first place, probably because you feel some type of way and just wants to bring down their legacy. Now, there has been speculation for years when Michael Jackson was alive, and even now that he's passed, that he was a bit odd or a bit weird. I am not catering to any of that, but the first episode in this documentary seemed like that was their main goal, as if we have to make Michael Jackson seem as weird as possible, because if we don't, we're all gonna die and go to hell. Like this was just like their lifelong mission or destiny to accomplish this task. Now, there are some things in the documentary to where I have to sit back and say, okay, Brendan, I know you're biased. I know that you are a fan of Michael Jackson, But this is a bit weird right here, and I've never heard this before. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just looking at the images and the video footage that they did include of Michael Jackson not presenting him in his best light during this time. Now, most likely he won't be because he's being accused of all these things. But to me, at least, it was very obvious that they were trying to make this man look bad. And as a fan, or just not just of Michael Jackson, but of content, period, you can tell that things were just not even and they wasn't fair. And I just didn't like that. You're going to be on the edge of your seat because some of the evidence that they do bring forth in the courtrooms during these proceedings, during this trial, you're like, oh my gosh, how did Michael get out of this if you didn't follow the case during this present time? Like, it seems like he's guilty. If you have a witness saying this, or you found this amount of evidence, I don't understand how Michael Jackson is innocent. They must have overlooked something. And that's why this documentary is out right now, because it's trying to bring it to light and possibly seek some type of justice. And I will go ahead and say, even if I am a fan of Michael Jackson, if he was guilty, he's guilty and he should be punished, anybody. But I never thought he was, from the little research that I did. And I'm glad that that's still the case right now. But while this evidence was coming forth, at least at the end of each episode, I did like the way that the defense did come through, debunking all of this, showing all of the inconsistencies. Like, okay, hey, this evidence you brought up, Mr. Prosecutor, is bogus because of this. It's bogus because of that. This family is accusing Michael Jackson of this, and they was in his life at this time, and this witness says that Michael Jackson was showing them porn magazines. Well, this magazine didn't come out until this time, but y'all was out of his life months prior to this. So what you're saying right now, what you're claiming, is false. That is a feel-good moment in this documentary, and that did happen a couple of times, but it just didn't happen enough, in my opinion. And one of the things that makes it so unfair to me is you had one of the prosecuting lawyers, I forgot his name, but he was in 60-70% of this whole documentary, giving his testimony, giving his side of the story, giving his interview. I'm not saying that you should not include him. I just wish the documentary would have also included the defense attorney, who apparently did such a great job. And we get brief snippets of that and witness accounts from other people that was in the area, in the vicinity at the same time. But this defense attorney, by the name of Thomas Massaro, was nowhere to be found. We just found old footage of him running around the courtroom, or old sketches or drawings. Now, I was saying to myself while watching it, well, Brandon, maybe he wasn't included in the documentary because this was about 20 years ago and he passed away, or just from some other reason, health concerns. But that's not the case. This is what the gentleman looks like right here. I was thinking that he passed away, but no, he's alive right now, 75 years old, was born in 1950. Maybe he just didn't want to be involved, and that's my thing. When you want to come up with documentaries or true stories based on whatever topic, you do your research, you try to get as many people as involved as possible. And if you're able to get a good balance on both ends, proceed with the project. But he was not included in this. And you may be saying, okay, Brandon, they wanted 30 cast members and they was only able to get 29. One is missing. But he is a key figure in this whole puzzle right here. And I just thought that if he was involved, this documentary just would have been much more balanced and much more palatable. Now, I wish we could have heard from him more, but apparently during the time, he did a fantastic job of finding all the holes in the prosecution's allegations, their complaints, their accusations. Of course, there were a number of witnesses. We all know one of them, the Home Alone star, Macaulay Culkin, who came through and testified on the behalf of Michael Jackson, saying that all of this is just false. There's no way in the world that he would hurt kids. But again, they could have used more Michael Jackson as well, footage of him saying that he was innocent and that all of this was a farce. It's just not true. But they just didn't do that. But I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I just feel like this documentary leaned more towards the side of trying to pin the guilt on Michael Jackson, saying that he's not innocent, that he is guilty. Even when the verdicts was read out loud, you still had some people coming through. I don't believe it. The state messed up here. They shouldn't have included this charge. Go kick rocks. Okay. Hey, I'm, let me see the same energy with people that are still alive today. You also had some people interviewing that you didn't really know what side they was on, but they were still involved in Michael Jackson's life at the time. But you also had his fans as well, but it was still not enough in Michael Jackson's defense, in my opinion. Now, this is not the worst documentary that I've ever seen, but at the same time, I did not enjoy this experience. I cannot say to myself, hey, you need to go watch this on Netflix right now. You're going to love it. This was kind of a chore to get through, and I was just like, oh my gosh, can we get to the end? I did ask Netflix for early access, and they said no, and I can kind of understand why, or maybe I don't, but I still wanted to talk about it and give you guys my short opinion. I will go ahead and give a rating for this at the very end of the video, but for now, guys, that is just my opinion. I really do appreciate you tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel if you did like this video. If you want to see more content like this or other types of content as well, whether that's movies or television, I really appreciate it. Thumbs up and leave a comment. So if I had to rate Michael Jackson, The Verdict, the documentary on Netflix, out of a 1 out of 10, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. Yes, a 5.5 out of 10. Bye, guys. Again, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget, I'm B. Avery. That's just my opinion. Peace. And I'll see you next time.